Welcome to the joint webinar series with IEEE Industrial Electronics Societies. Thank you for joining. Today, we bring you a presentation entitled How to Make a Real Pizza at Home, being presented by Professor Roberto Oboe from Italy. First, we have some housekeeping announcements. Today's webinar will be live and is being recorded and will place on the IES online resource centers within the next week. We invite you to use the question function on your panel to ask any questions you may have regarding the content or any broadcast-related issues. Questions regarding content will be answered verbally at the end of the webinar. I will now welcome Professor Oboe so he can begin his presentation. We hope you enjoy the webinar. We will get started in a moment.
Thank you, Faye, for your kind introduction. And today, the subject of my presentation and webinar is to give you some very simple instructions on how to make a real pizza at home. Being in Italian, I'm fully entitled to lead this webinar. So just for those asking where pizza is coming from, so I have to tell you that the history of pizza begins many years ago, and the precursor of pizza was the focaccia, which is a flatbread known to the Romans as a panis focaccius. And the modern pizza evolved from the flatbread dishes to in Naples, let's say in the 18th or early 19th century. The word pizza actually was documented first more than 1,000 years ago in Gaeta, which is south of Italy. And the pizza was a really poor food for the people. And but then this changed a lot when the World War II came to Italy with the Allied troops, and so this made that food much more rich, and it started the diffusion all around the world. And let's say that in the 16th century, the flatbread was referred to pizza, and it was only tomato and oil. And then it had some fish, and thanks also to America, we got the tomatoes, of course. And in the middle of the 19th century, Alexandre Dumas, a French writer, described the diversity of pizza toppings. So there were several recipes also at the time. And let's say the pizza margherita, the most known pizza in the world, it's let's say tribute to the Queen of Consort of Italy. She was visiting Naples in June 11th, 1899. And so this pizza maker, Raffaele Esposito, keep this name in mind because I think 99% of the pizza maker around the world has this family name, and created the pizza margherita, which is tomato, mozzarella, and basil to represent the national colors of Italy as on the Italian flag. So can you see the here the Italian flag waving? Because we have also to see if the animation are working. So pizza making at home. The real pizza is cooked in a wood-fired oven over a bed of refractory stones at 400 centigrades. That is not common in the stove you may find at home. And so making a real pizza at home is maybe very difficult. But you can achieve fairly good results also if you use your electric oven at 250. And so being a presentation for engineers, and we need to address the pizza making as an engineering project. And so we need to list the materials, tools, and methods to solve our problem and achieve the target. So I see a question. Okay, I will answer later. This is the list of ingredients for the pizza base, the flatbread, and we are listing the specifications for 4 pizzas only because my son today is out for a bicycle ride. So usually I make for 5, but today I make for 4. And so These numbers are not based on some very obscure calculation by the experience. So 320 grams of water and 590 grams of wheat flour, bread flour, of course, 20 grams of fresh brew yeast, and 1 teaspoon of table salt and 2 teaspoons of white sugar. Remember that you have to be very sharp in water and flour, otherwise you have a very sloppy or too hard dough. Use an electronic scale and do not use cups and so on. And conversions in the 2 US units can be done with online tools. And so materials, this is the list of materials. So for the topping, 400 grams of fresh mozzarella cheese, diced and drained. I will show you later. Plain tomato sauce. Do not use that American stuff with basil inside, anchovies or whatever. Only tomato. Salt and olive oil. Then you can add virtually anything you can find in the refrigerator, even leftovers. I use broccoli in my pizza. And so whatever ham, diced tomato, tuna, whatever can be used. As tools, you need a baking paper foils, a bread making machine or kneading machine if you don't want to use your hands to mix the dough, and an oven, of course, and a small rolling pin with a handle like the one in the picture. So preparing the dough can be done manually or using a bread machine or a kneading machine. And in my case, I use a bread making machine, and because everything is mixed and the dough rises at the controlled temperature, but you can do it manually, and you can have a fermentation in the fridge for 24 hours, or you can have a quicker fermentation in a warm place, like inside the oven at the 40 centigrades. And so this is the first part of the method. Then first you put the water, 320 grams. I don't see my cursor. I don't understand why. Oh, sorry. Okay, then yeast inside the water. Then you add the flour and sugar and salt. And then you start the mixer of the bread machine. Very important is that when the dough is ready, you can check whether the amount of water is okay by pushing the dough with your finger. If the dough is rather firm and does not stick, you are close to the good result. So you see, I push and I don't get any dough attached to my finger. Okay. So then you have to flatten the dough. You have to prepare 4 foils of baking paper, and you have to sprinkle some flour on them because you don't want to have the dough attaching to the baking paper. And then you split the dough into 4 equal pieces, about 240 grams. You see the dough is very tight. It's not that soft. You can strap a fairly big amount, and you make 4 equal pieces or about 240 grams. Okay. Then the flattening of the dough is very important. You have to make a kind of ball using your hands by rolling down the external side. You put them downside, and then you try to wrap up a kind of bowl-shaped stuff. Oh, now, sorry, Java update. Okay, you see the flour on the foils. Then you start flattening the dough with your fingers, like this. Okay, and you repeat this for all the other pieces of dough. Okay. Okay. Then what you have to do is use the rolling pin to flatten the disc. You don't have to reach the final size in one step, but you have to do in 3 steps minimum. Okay, you see the 4 flattened discs at the first stage, then second stage, you flatten more. And this is the third final step, and you reach about 30 centimeter of diameter, or let's say 16 to 18 inches. You see, the ability is to make a flat disk. Then the very important thing is that you have to wait a few minutes between one flattening and the next one. Then when you flatten all the discs, you put some flour on the discs and you stack all the discs one over the other for about 1 hour. Okay, I have to stop this. Sorry. I'm not able to proceed. Okay. And flattening the dog is like this. And then you have to stack all the discs one over the other. You put some flour on the discs. Please enjoy the music. You spread the flour with your hands, and then you stack all the disc one over the other, and the final one you cover with the one foil and one, let's say, piece of cloth or whatever to keep everything covered and warm, like this. Then you have to prepare the topping. Slicing the mozzarella is something you have to do carefully. Okay, this audio should be removed. This is my wife asking me. Okay. You have this, and you slice discs, then and then you make cubes, and you have to drain, putting the mozzarella over a dish and making the water inside pouring out, because otherwise your pizza gets very wet. Okay. Then you use the tomato sauce, and you use the back of the spoon to spread out. Be generous with your tomato sauce, and you use the back of the spoon to spread the tomato sauce all over the pizza disc. Okay. Then mozzarella. Mozzarella. And there's a very simple process. Be, let's say, even in putting your mozzarella even near the crust, the border of the pizza. And then if you are lucky enough to have a fresh basil on your balcony, you pick some leaves of fresh basil and you cut over the pizza. You can see in this case, I didn't use the tomato sauce, but I use cherry tomatoes, so you can also use diced tomatoes. Here you see some corn. You can put any topping you want. Please do not use pineapple. Okay, then you have to put some salt and on top. Don't forget it, otherwise the taste is very. Oh, this is for my wife, and this is with red onions from Tropea, mozzarella, olives, and anchovies. These are the anchovies. Then you put into a preheated oven at 250. You put on the pan. Okay, and so you put in the oven. You can put even more than one, and at the same time. And I use a ventilated oven so I can stack the pizzas inside. Remember to swap the pizzas after 9 minutes, otherwise they get burnt on the the top one, and the bottom one. But at the end, you can pull them out. You can see after about 9 minutes, I swap the plates inside the oven. And next one is in 15 minutes, the pizza is ready. And you put it directly on the plate. You see it's quite rigid because it is crusty also in the bottom. And so you can enjoy. So as shown in the presentation, so I clearly demonstrated that even an engineer can make a decent pizza. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I'm ready for questions from the audience. Okay, can I add pepperoni? This is a very good question. Pepperoni is a kind of sausage salami made in the United States. Yes, you can do if you like. Usually, I recommend not to put pepperoni at the very beginning of cooking, but close to the end. Otherwise, the pepperoni slice get very hard and it becomes a little bit too salty. I suggest to put it 3 to 2 minutes before taking out from the oven. So you open the oven, you put the slices of pepperoni, and then you enjoy a less cooked pepperoni. It's much better. Okay, I think I answered this question. And second question is from Mr. Marek Jasinski, and a very long family name. Thank you for coming to this seminar. And do you know when the pizza will be served? Usually pizza is served for lunch or for dinner. If you go to Naples, typically pizza is also sold in the folded way. So there is a small size pizza which is folded in two and wrapped into a piece of paper, and people are used to eat while they are walking. There is another question, but it's only question mark. Maybe it was the question mark of the previous question. Is there any other question about the material, methods, tools? If not,
okay, it seems we don't have any more questions. Thank you again, Professor Oboe. As a reminder, information regarding how this webinar will be posted in the next following weeks will be included in the follow-up emails you will receive within 1 hour of completion of this webinar. You are also invited to take a survey to answer a few questions to help us to further improve the quality of our future webinars held by industrial electronic societies. This concludes today's webinar. Thank you for attending.